Well, hey everybody, Sean Malloy coming to you from Patriots Landing, and I hope you're doing well. It is late January, and it's not 10 degrees outside. Oh man, it's a beautiful day today. I think we're gonna make it into the low 50s, and actually 64 by the end of the week. I think Wednesday we're supposed to have some warm weather. So, what does that mean? It means it's time to start doing some shooting and getting ready for Species X, baby. Species X in full effect. Big announcement coming soon. Built some new arrows for Species X. These are designed to fly through wind. Very, very good. This 4mm Axis arrow from Easton. And I got the Atlas vanes on here, which are lower profile than the Blazer vanes that I'd normally run. And they're a little longer too. So they do have almost the same surface area, if not a little bit more. But because they're lower profile, they zip to the wind pretty good. And also, those of you that are nerds like me, the helical on this is a 1 degree helical, and usually I wear on a 3 degree helical. So these won't require that for a broadhead because of the length. It'll stabilize really good and should fly through wind really good. And where we're going, wind is a factor. So enough about that. What am I here to do today is I've put letters on these arrows on the fletchings, and that's usually what I do before I number them. After I pick my best arrows and put them in the order I want, then I number them 1 through 6, and lowest number is the best arrow, or the best performing arrow. And as you can see, we got our elk target back here behind us, and it's got a big old hole through it from all the elk practice I did in the fall, or excuse me, the summer and leading up to the fall hunt. As soon as I get these done, we're going to be shooting broadheads again. So I've got a new core that just came in, and we're going to replace that core in that elk because where we're going, well, I'll just say it's a big animal, just like an elk. So we're going to be practicing on the elk targets here. So with no further ado, I am going to get that core put in, and we're going to fling some arrows and see how these new arrows fly that I just built. So let's get on it, and I will see you on the range here in a few minutes. All right, that was a big chore. Thought I was going to have to take it off the stand and put it on the ground and basically jump and stomp on the core to get it in. It goes in from one side real easy. I started out on the incorrect side. Once I got it started, I was able to use the rubber mallet, put it right in there, and we got a new target to tear up. So let's get started. All right. Put a little piece of tape down on the target until I get some spray paint down there, and put my little spray paint aim point on there. So we got a little sliver of tape down there we're gonna aim for, and we'll make some sight adjustments after a few warm-up shots if needed. This arrow is about 10 grains heavier than the arrows I ran for elk hunting last year, and that's the increased weight of the grain in the vane. And I've also got a lighted knock on here, and that's going to add a little bit more weight too. But they should fly pretty good, so we might have to make a minor adjustment, might slow it down. I ran it through the chronograph. I'm shooting 67.2 pounds of bow weight, and I'm getting 269 feet per second. So that's pretty good. And this arrow weighs 479.9 grains total. So it's a good arrow for the application that we're going to be using it for. So I'm going to turn on the slow motion camera because, you know, I like to watch my arrow flight and just see how things are spinning and going down range. That gives me a lot of indication of bow tune and arrow tune. Today we're only using fill points, and after I make sure I know the ranges that we should be getting, we'll switch over to the new broadhead that we're going to be hunting with, and we'll start broadhead tuning. But that won't be today. That'll be another time. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and get flinging some arrows. I'm excited to get started. Oh, and we're starting at 20 yards this first set, so let's just see how this thing does at 20. Shouldn't be any issues. Okay, the first two arrows were side by side at the same elevation. The other one I shot just a little higher. I didn't want to hit those arrows. So what I've done is I've lowered my whole sight housing, and we'll see how that does on this next round. All right, I think we're dialed in at 20, but I'm already seeing arrow lettered A is wanting to track a little high. So we're gonna keep an eye on that one. That's another reason to put numbers or letters on these arrows when you get started, so you can kind of start tracking how they act. So we're gonna move back to 30, and that'll really start telling the tale on a couple things. One, are my pins right? Because my pins go 20, 30, 40, 50, and then I'm not worried about the tape just yet, just worried about the pins. So we're gonna shoot at 30 and see how things fall, and we'll keep an eye on letter A, which I'm gonna shoot first, and see if it tracks high on this shot, because so far it's done it on like 3 series. So let's see. All right, look like 30 is dialed right in. Pretty happy with this group. Arrow A did hit a little higher. We're gonna look at it, but it was still in the ring, at least I think. Not just a little bit outside. So we're gonna do a little knock tuning on this one, I think. But for 30 yards, and I haven't shot since hunting season, that's not a bad grouping. So I think the pins are okay. And there's A right there. So it was B that shot a little high, but I might have pulled that one. So pleased with that. I'm gonna move back to 40 and just fling all these and see how that looks. So let's pull these arrows and jump back another 10 yards. Let's do it. All right. We're back at 40 now, and we're gonna get set up and do some slow-mo on that. So let's fling some arrows down at 40 yards. What do you say? All right, kind of a mixed bag here. Looks like I got the arrows up and down, which means I'm shooting straight, but my arm's fluctuating, or the arrows are not hitting, they're not grouping, so it's definitely probably me. I think I'm getting a little tired. You know, when you hadn't shot your bow really probably since, I practiced a couple times, but mid-December is when my last really good practice session was. it can catch up with you pretty quick, especially at distance. You know, if you're shooting 20, 30 yards, it's not a big deal. But as you can see, when we're shooting 40, it can give you some variance. Those are all kill shots. I mean, that's a good grouping, and if you remember, that's about where I put my black dots on this target. So that's a good grouping at 40. But I would like to see it tighter. I don't know if I need to raise this pin just yet. They are kind of grouping at the same spot, but I think I'm just going to hold off on touching the 40-yard pin because I can feel a little fatigue. I've been doing a lot of weightlifting the last couple weeks, and you know, my body's still getting adjusted to that. So I don't want to make any adjustments when I'm in a weakened state, if that makes sense. So we're gonna call this session over. That's for two reasons. One, I'll start losing confidence if I start making a lot of bad shots, and if I do that, I'll either get mentally frustrated or I'll start messing with my equipment, and then the next time I come out, everything will be jacked up. So what I have found for me is when I start getting tired, I just stop practicing and just pick it back up where I left off. So the next session, we're gonna come back and we're gonna verify 20 real quick, 30, and then we're gonna jump back to 40. And the goal then will be jump back to 50, and we might try a little bit at 60. One thing you can tell, there's a little bit of a breeze. So we've got kind of a tailwind and a kind of a crossing tailwind. These arrows have flown really well in that. I mean, you could probably hear it, but you can also see the leaves. So we got a lot of wind right now, which is good. So it's good to shoot these arrows with a little bit of wind and just start seeing how they perform. But no issues so far. I'm not gonna say I'm ecstatic, but no issues right now, so I'm satisfied with that. So anyway, with that, thank you for joining me at Patriots Landing for this first shoot session for Species X. And I'll see you back in the range another time, and I'll see you in the field. Take care.